This is why I switched from my iPhone 8 Plus to a OnePlus 6. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse, and if you haven't seen me in a while, it's because I've been gone for a little bit. Glad to be back and better than ever. This is my new office. I moved into a house like 2 weeks ago at this point, so if everything looks a little bit different, it's because it slightly is. So why did I move from iOS to Android after being on iOS essentially as long as I've had smartphones? Well, it's kind of an interesting topic, and I think it's something definitely that needs to be discussed. So let's get into it. Typically in this channel, I talk about computers, but sometimes computers can get boring, so I figured I would venture in to cell phones. Welcome to the new cell phone channel. Every video will be about cell phones. So what finally made me switch from iOS to Android? Because that's really what this is about, because a lot of the things I'm going to talk about with this phone can be transcribed across the board. Transcribed can be consistent across the board, whatever, doesn't really matter. So the reason I switched was because my iPhone 8 Plus, the screen cracked, and unfortunately it was unusable. Typically if the screen cracks, like the screen is still usable, but the way that it fell, it landed on a glass cup that I had lying on the floor because I'm an idiot, and the way that it hit the corner of the glass cup essentially made it useless. I turned it back on, like thumbprinted into it, and then it started calling my brother on FaceTime. It just started clicking random buttons. So I had to stop using that phone because I didn't want it to do something that I didn't want it to do. So I shut it off and I'm like, well, I'll fix the screen later. Then I got to thinking like, okay, why don't I just see if I can find a nice little used phone locally that I can then sell for a little bit of a profit. I've never done anything like that. I normally stick to computers, and typically I don't make too much money, but I do make maybe $100 here, $100 there, just buying and selling computer parts or computers in general. I've had a bunch of videos on this channel showing off those products, and this, I guess, is kind of another version of that. So the OnePlus 6 is now the second most recent phone. They just released a 7 Pro today. The OnePlus 6T was late last year, and then the OnePlus 6 was earlier in the year. So this phone is about a year old, which I think is the perfect sweet spot for a phone, maybe even 2 years old. Much older than that, you start to worry about how long it's going to be supported, and if it's going to be getting the updates and security patches that some Android phones just won't be getting, and even iPhones. They do have a lot longer support typically, but Apple is moving away from the iPhone 5S and SE in this next update, so don't be surprised if their phones start to get supported for a lot less long. So what pushed me to switch? Why didn't I just purchase an iPhone? Well, I've had Android phones before, and I thought it would be fun to do it. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, a phone is a phone. It does everything that I need it to do, but I think it's a fun thing to be able to buy something for so cheap. I purchased this phone for $280 locally, and this thing is worth, right now, as the time of filming this video, it's worth around $400 on eBay. I would be very, very confident in my ability to get more than what I paid for back with this, so I figured no matter what, I'll just buy it and maybe use it, and then if I like it, maybe keep and sell my 8 Plus after I fix it, or just sell this and then fix my 8 Plus, and then I'm good to go. But I think I'm going to be doing the first one where I'm selling the 8 Plus because I have really, really enjoyed this phone. I've talked about phones a lot on this channel. In my opinion, all phones are essentially the same, but sometimes they're a little bit different. And obviously going from iOS to Android is certainly different. And I thought it would be an interesting thing to talk about. And honestly, this thumbnail is so clickable and this title so clickable, I need the views. I'm the most contradictory YouTuber that's ever existed, ever. So what are the things I like the most about this phone? Well, I would say the number one most favorite feature of this phone is the way that YouTube, how it can be played in the corner of your screen. So I watch a lot of like basketball content and other types of content. I don't watch a ton of tech videos. I do watch them, but I sort of stay away from that. And all the content I like to watch will sit in the bottom corner of the screen after I click out of the YouTube app. It is the most amazing and the most underrated thing of all time. I love that feature. I've been able to use my phone like it was an iPad, although on the iPad you can't do it with YouTube. You can only do it with like Hulu and Netflix. But on here, I mainly watch YouTube. I don't normally watch too much content because I normally am busy making it. But recently I've had a lot of time on my hands and I figured I'd start watching YouTube again. And this was great because it fit in the bottom right corner. I could move it around the screen. My one complaint is that I wish I could expand it and make it a little bit bigger. I believe on my fiance's Note 8 she can, but on the OnePlus 6 I unfortunately cannot do that. Next is going to be the chips inside of here that connect to mobile networks. This has been really well documented. Qualcomm chips that connect to the LTE network or Wi-Fi or whatever are much faster, substantially faster than the Intel-based chips inside of iPhones. sometimes up to 3 times as fast. And that is super noticeable, especially since we just moved into this house. I've been reluctant as to which Wi-Fi I'm going to get because I'm just not sure which one I'm going to get yet. So I've just been holding off on purchasing Wi-Fi. So we've been using hotspot because through T-Mobile, we have unlimited hotspot. And I was like, this phone gives me way faster download and upload speeds. Connecting it to my iMac and my fiance's MacBook Pro was slightly harder to begin with. It's actually much easier now because the way it works on iPhone is they know that this is an iPhone, so you can activate hotspot from the Wi-Fi menu, but it is so unreliable and it hardly ever works. You have to go into the phone, go down, click on turning on hotspot, wait a second, and then it turns on and then it connects. But when you're just using this phone, this acts as if it's a real true wireless network like Wi-Fi. Instead of having it be a phone that's using hotspot, this just looks as if it's just a Wi-Fi network. So when I turn this on, it instantly connects from my iMac and my fiance's MacBook Pro and also her phone, which I think is pretty cool because it's a lot more seamless than having my iPhone do it, because the iPhone, the way it works, it's just, it doesn't work nearly as well as this does. Something to note, and obviously the speeds are a lot quicker. Next, the way that it works with my AirPods, it literally has the same functionality as my AirPods when they work with my iPhone, as if they were to work with this thing. Literally, I just open the case, put them in, and they're automatically connected. Sometimes I have to turn it on, hit the volume button up, hit the top button up there, and then it connects. But pretty much every single time I've ever put my AirPods in, it just instantly connects. That's a really cool feature. And at the end of the day, a phone is a phone, but Android phones are really, really intriguing to me because they're much cheaper. When you compare it to a phone that's a very similar age, it's much cheaper to get a OnePlus or any similar Android phone. Samsung S9s and S8s are way overpriced. I wouldn't suggest buying them unless you get it for a good price, because a lot of people were asking like $600 for S9 Pluses, and those phones are now a year old, and if I'm being honest, they're not worth that much money. But this OnePlus, this was a good deal. There's not a ton of OnePluses floating around, especially in the United States, but do keep your eye out for deals. It took me about a week to find a phone that was a good price and that I would have been happy with using, and that's this OnePlus 6. So at the end of the day, I switched. It's been a fun experiment. I'll probably stay with Android for a little bit. I might switch back in the future, but for now, I'm a really big fan of this phone. I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's still a phone. It takes bad pictures when I compare it to my DSLR, but the good thing about the pictures that it takes is it takes pictures in the moment. After my cat passed away and we had to put him down, I realized that iPhone and smartphone cameras in general don't have to be good. They just have to work. And that's, I think, what the most important thing to me is when I look back at pictures of my cat Stitch, or my dog Paisley, or my fiance Carly, or myself, or just all four of us together, the thing that I like the most about that picture is not the quality or how crisp it is or if it's got the bokeh effect, but it's really just about the memory. It's about me thinking that, oh, remember when he was doing this and I captured that on my phone, or remember when he was doing this thing and I captured that on my phone. I think at the end of the day, that's what's most important to me. So when I'm talking about a phone camera, if it just works, I'm super happy with it. And the phone is plenty fast. Phones in 2019 are way overkill. This was made in 2018. 2018, 2017, even 2016 phones were overkill. They're running super basic operating systems that were built to run on phones that were not very powerful, which is different to a desktop class operating system where if you just keep feeding it horsepower, it'll take advantage of that. Premiere Pro will work better and better and better if you have more and more cores. A phone, if you have more cores or faster cores or a better GPU, more RAM, more storage, whatever, it's not going to affect the usability of the phone. It's still going to work just as good. The little toy apps you play on this phone or use on this phone are still going to work perfectly fine whether you have your phone from 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, or 2019. That's just the nature of phones. That's just how they're built. And it makes sense because they can't be built to run on something that's more powerful, because then they start to leave behind a lot of other phones that are not nearly powerful enough to run the operating system or any of the apps on it. So thank you guys for watching the video. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. Switching has been fun. It's not a make or break thing to me. It's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed doing it. And I don't know, I thought it was a cool way to make a video about something that I don't normally make videos about, phones. And that's the end of the video. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. For people who want to watch more content, stay here. So, as you guys know, I had to put my cat down, and I filmed a video last night, and I started crying in it, and the video wasn't that good. So I want to talk about it again, and today I'm not going to cry. So, we had to put down Stitch, the cat who's in a lot of my videos. it sucks. He was like my best friend, probably my best friend. He was super awesome. He just loved us very much. He wasn't like most cats. I think he was the type of cat that would jump up on you and want to be near you. I know a lot of my friends' cats, and some of the comments I've read on other cat forums, basically, because I was scrolling through those after he passed away, was saying that they were saying that their cat wasn't the most loving cat, but Stitch was awesome. He always wanted to be around, and he was my little editing buddy. That's why I took a little bit of a break, because editing this video is going to be a little bit tough for me, because he was just always there, whether I wanted him to be there or not. He was super annoying sometimes, but I am definitely going to miss him. And obviously, I wish it didn't happen, and I wish I would have posted this last week and in the last 2 weeks, but I just needed to take a break. I just missed him, and he's my little editing buddy. And he'll always be with me, but it's very sad that I had to lose him. Also, I'm going to Utah tomorrow. My flight leaves tomorrow, so I'm going to do a vlog type video that's going to wrap around tech. Hopefully you guys like it, but we'll see. It'll be definitely a different type of video for me. I think it'll be relatively entertaining, and if you don't like that type of content, then just don't watch the video. And I'll have another video after that. I get back on Monday, so I'm sure I'll make a video sometime that next week. All right, thanks again for watching. Peace out.